I'm Chris Ronzio, as some of you might know, CEO and founder of Trainual, and I'm super excited to host this session today during the Broker Owner Conference. We're going to be talking about how RE/MAX teams recruit, retain, and train. So those three words will kind of be the theme of this event. And we have some amazing people, a great panel joining us today. So first, Keith Pike. Keith, how you doing?
Doing good. Appreciate you having me on.
Yeah, of course. So Keith, for anyone that doesn't know, Keith is the owner of RE/MAX Elite, fastest growing brokerage in the U.S. and Recruiter of the Year. So can't wait to talk to you about that, Keith. Next up is Gary. Hey, Gary.
Hey, how you doing?
Great. So Gary Ashton, he is with the #1 RE/MAX real estate team in the world, the Ashton Real Estate Team. So
you have to say the world, because
the world. So we'll have plenty to talk about there. And then Amy Somerville, how are you today?
I'm great. How are you?
Great. So it's been a couple years since I've seen you, so I'm super excited you're here. SVP of Professional Development and Engagement at RE/MAX. So you'll be coming to us kind of from the headquarters perspective, right?
Absolutely.
And then last but not least, Tony Adams, friend of mine and former head of recruiting and retention at RE/MAX, and now the founder and the chief results officer of TrueVisory. Hey, Tony, how are you?
Hey, doing great. Thanks for inviting me on this, Chris, and just honored to be on this panel with these amazing people.
Perfect. So before we dig into the content, I'm sure I skipped a lot of stuff. So beyond your LinkedIn title or whatever I read, maybe the four of you could give us each like a 30-second elevator pitch for why you care about retention, recruiting, training, that sort of thing. So why don't we start in the order that I mentioned? So Keith, you're first.
So, I mean, I guess recruiting retention is where the money is. And
exactly right.
Right. That's how we keep our brokerages open. But also, I own 4 brokerages, and then I also own a mortgage company, Motto Mortgage, and an insurance company. We insure, and those the more agents that we add to our brokerage, the more business is running through our ancillary businesses as well.
Great. Gary, how about you? What brings you here?
The reason for retaining and recruiting, well, because my focus is like I have a bunch of agents on the team. It keeps growing. I keep trying to find new lead sources, and as I do that, we need more agents because I'm always in search of the new shiny object of lead generation and lead systems, and we just partner with HomeSnap, so we're doing a bunch of stuff with HomeSnap, so we're generating a bunch of new leads. So Deborah Beagle, who runs the whole brokerage, will always say to me, "Oh, good grief, no, not more leads. We don't need more leads. We need more agents." And it's kind of like a vicious circle or a self-fulfilling circle. The more leads you get, the more agents you need to work those leads, and then as the agents get more and more leads, they tend to get more and more peripheral leads from all the sphere of influence from the leads. So it keeps blowing and blowing up and getting bigger. So it's like a big ball, like a big inertia.
The price of success, have to add more people to the team, right?
Yeah, and then obviously I got to try and keep ahead of Rob Dukansky and all those guys behind me. Oh no, they changed all that now. So now I'm in the #1 broker-owned team. Is that right, Amy? Yeah.
That is correct.
All right. Well, I love the competition. Amy, thanks again for being here. So this is a big part of your focus, right?
It is a huge part. As you heard from Keith and Gary, they have they have tough jobs. My job that I'm honored to have is to work for them. So to help them provide value, tools, services, training, coaching, anything that is a value proposition that will help them attract and retain agents. So I have the honor of doing that. And then I also have the privilege of overseeing RE/MAX University, which is a team of rockstar professional development consultants, a production team, education and training team.
Amazing. Okay, and then Tony, your specialty has been retention, right? So much so that you started helping a lot of broker owners with this, right?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, if you think about it, it's hard to keep a bucket full that has holes in it. So, retention really is. I think retention and experience, right? Like, and I'll use some words probably throughout this. One of my favorites is love bombing. And, I love bombing my employees and the people that I work with and creating an amazing experience so that people, it's sticky, right? Or magnetic, I think would be even a better word. But you really want to create a magnetic culture, a magnetic environment, people that talk a lot about it and don't want to leave.
Yeah. Okay. Perfect. Well, let's dive in first to recruiting, because at the beginning of this life cycle is bringing in great agents to our team. So, Keith, I know you've been an all-star recruiter, and I'd love to hear more about that. But I'm curious, from the broker's standpoint, what's the biggest challenge with trying to attract people and convince someone to join your team, whether they're a first time or jumping from another brokerage?
Listen, this is a big deal for agents, especially experienced agents. They got a lot going on. They might have several deals in the pipeline. They really don't have time to transfer brokerages, even if they really want to, even if there's something at their current brokerage that is just that they really don't like and that's making them miserable. The thought of moving brokerages might be even more miserable to them. And so we have to really convince those agents that we have systems in place that is going to make things more efficient for them, and that we're going to take care of them, that we're going to make that transition smooth. And, a big part of that is having a good onboarding system where you can onboard these agents. I think that I've added 3 agents today. I'm somewhere between 45 and 50 agents since January. And so we have to fulfill a whole lot of promises. And the only way we can do that is plugging agents into systems.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I love that. So, the software aside, what are the actual the struggle of leaving a brokerage and coming to you? Is it that they just think it's too much time? If they would have to put their business on pause and kind of restart, it's going to be too hard to get up and running. What are the things that you hear?
Yeah, some agents they want to do that. I discourage them from doing that. They want to put their business on pause, and then they want to grind it to a halt so that they don't have any pending business that is going to be left behind at their new brokerage, because in their mind they think, I want a fresh start. But when you do that, you grind that to a halt, and then you've got to you got to get that engine going again, and it takes a second to get that engine going again. And then for the people that don't do that, I've had agents that had $5 million closing at their current brokerage, and they moved in the middle of that. And what that means for them is they are dealing with all of my systems and processes on their new business, plus they're still having to deal with their old brokerage and all their systems and processes, trying to get all that business closed. And it could be daunting for some agents. So it's got to be done. It's got to be done correctly and done right.
Yeah. Gary, how about from you? How do you give someone a warm welcome to the team or make that process of transitioning a bit easier?
Well, we've been doing the boot camp for kind of 4 or 5 years now, where we have agents come on. We have so many systems, it's kind of daunting. So they come on, and it's a 2-week boot camp. So they go through all our systems, processes. They meet all the members of the brokerage, the staff, meet our preferred vendors. So it's a long, ongoing process. But at the end of the day, we just, like Keith's saying, you're trying to make that transition smooth and introducing into your systems. And I think, and then Keith will back me up on this, that's where Trainual's become really an integral part of what we're doing, because I always feel like the other brokerages around will offer so much in terms of they overpromise and probably underdeliver. So we generally can stand by the appeal of the team is basically I generate a ton of leads. That's one of the big attractions, plus the fact that we're so well branded. We got RE/MAX, we're well known in the city. So, what was I saying? I lost my train of thought there. But just
I can tell you what you were going to say.
tell me what I was going to say, because Amy was always knowing what I'm going to say. It's fantastic.
Perfect. Amy, jump in.
He was going to say it's really important to, if you're going to sell on the front end to recruit, to help them connect as efficiently and as quickly into the system so that they can experience the value proposition and the culture as fast as possible. Where other brokers recruit and sell, the moon, the stars, and the sky, and it takes, they come into a situation, they aren't plugged into the systems right away. They realize they've probably made a little bit of a mistake. Both Gary and Keith can plug them in immediately to the promises of leads or systems or culture or whatever it is, and be able to track them on the back end.
That's exactly what I was going to say.
Yeah, and I think Gary was also going to say too that your value proposition should be unique. It's a unique value proposition, and it should be tailored to the agent. It's not just a boilerplate, right? A unique value proposition that you tailor to the agent, and you fulfill that value proposition to that agent.
So our training, I think, has been second to none, and which is we've used Momentum, as everybody knows, and Deborah put together a whole system that's fantastic with our training. But it was always based around using documents that I'd started years ago using Google Docs and things like that. So it was kind of an organized chaos, I believe. And what I was really trying to get to is the fact that our training is so good, but we didn't have a platform. We used another platform, which was really hard to actually set up. You really had to become a little bit of a specialist in setting up the class and things like that. And so that hindered the growth, I feel. So when Trainual came along, the fact that we could now create a seamless system where it could appeal to people, like I always say that the training is based on, we got the content, but we've got to deliver that content in some way. So having the ability to review the content before you go to a class, review the content while you're actually in the class, and then review it afterwards, that appeals to every particular learning type, because you can embed the videos, the actual video from the class, you can have that in there. Me, I'm one of those people that would probably go to the class, absorb half of it whilst I was there, and then get out of the class and go, now, what was that all about? Now I've got the ability to go and review it, 2 o'clock in the morning. I'm a link person, so I'll be able to review it. Now you've got those other people that want to come, and they like being so well prepared, so they can go to the class, go through the class, and then they're prepared for the class, and that's where it's going to raise those questions that now they can answer within the class. So to me, the fact that we have that, I feel like it's raising our brokerage at a level above other brokerages around, just in terms of the training, because lots of people talk about the training, but ours is really content-based, but now having the ability it just took us to the next level, I believe.
Yeah. So Tony, you mentioned the unique value proposition. I'm curious from Amy, from your standpoint, what are you doing to position RE/MAX as the best, most attractive opportunity for agents out there?
I don't have to position it. I think that we are the best brand for agents new and existing out there. So whether it be from, I think there's certainly a value proposition that the brand puts forward in tools, training, and technology. And then obviously there is a specific and unique value proposition that the broker puts forward in their marketplace. And where those two kind of come together, so Gary's talking about momentum, but also, his onboarding programs, his management team, and what they bring in systems and tools and process and procedure, and oh my gosh, and culture. I could speak to both Gary and Keith's offices when I speak to unique culture, and that is where we all have to come together, the brand and the local brand and the broker owner and the local culture kind of together to be that magnet.
So I want to plug Amy and her group here. They put out this program called Take Flight through RE/MAX University, and it is phenomenal. And there's Take Flight for just existing agents that are coming to RE/MAX, and we're going to kind of onboard you on everything that you need to know about RE/MAX. But then there's Take Flight as a new agent, and with all kinds of PDFs. And if you print them all out, I mean, it is like that thick. It'll fill up a binder full, and I know because I did, and it is phenomenal. So, I mean, good job, Amy and team.
Thank you. That's awesome. And actually, to your point, Chris, and kind of what Gary and Keith I think are talking about here is the onboarding piece being so important. Is where that Take Flight course comes from is the concept that I can put myself in my shoes and going through real estate licensing and pre-licensing training, and you walk out and you still don't know how to run a business, right? You know how to basically keep yourself out of jail in some ways, but outside of that, how to build a pipeline, what kind of financial organizational plans you need to have in place. That's all stuff you're just kind of expected as an entrepreneur to know off the top of your head. And those offices that have an onboarding system that teaches agents not just about how to fill out the local forms, but how to build a solid business, that's the gold.
Yeah. Onboarding so important. I mean, it's the beginning of the journey with your agent and that brokerage. So you can start that journey very well or not, right? And if you start it very well, that also influences the retention of those agents. Yeah. I mean, that's your perfect opportunity to start your relationship right.
Do you think onboarding gets enough attention from brokers? I see you all shaking.
No. And it puts a bad taste in the mouth of those agents that are transferring. And you'll see it more often than you would think, that an agent will transfer to a brokerage and within months transfer out. And it was because the onboarding wasn't handled properly.
Yeah. And it's actually interesting because it's not just real estate companies, but it's all companies. I think it is Salesforce. They did a study and surveyed companies over all different types of industries. And I think they found nearly 90% of all companies don't have a solid onboarding plan or platform or program or system. So it's almost its own little pandemic, if you will, of, it is an issue that's solvable, but a lot of people don't capitalize on this huge opportunity.
I know that we've tried to, I've always said to Deborah, why our onboarding is so long. We got all these leads. Can't we get them brushed through and get them quickly into our system? So I've pushed for that, and every time I've pushed for that, we always end up going back to the 2 weeks because we really need to spend the time investing in those agents and those agents. Because essentially, it's like if you're coming from another brokerage, you're 100 miles per hour in your car, they're in the 100 miles per hour in their car. So you're driving along side by side. You want them to be able to just step over. So if you're both doing 100 miles per hour, that hopping over is really easy. But if all of a sudden the speeds, there's a differential and you miss when you leap over, then it's obviously a disaster. So having that time and spending that time with the agents and reinforcing why they came over, and then showing them the systems and how within our system now, like within 3 or 4 weeks, they're writing a contract and getting.
And a lot of sorry, Gary.
No, you're good. Yeah.
Hey, and a lot of broker owners don't know how to onboard, right? I mean, because it's kind of onboarding is kind of this weird journey. You kind of have to be taught a little bit. Something I give all of my clients is I actually have a guide that was written by Salesforce. Again, I think it's about a 35-page long PDF. I give it to all of my clients because it teaches you what to do and how to onboard and how to create that beautiful experience. And it will define what love bombing is. And so if you want, Chris, maybe I can give you that guide and you can distribute that to all of our attendees.
Yeah, be happy to send that out.
So listen, Chris, I wanted to say this real quick. So I think that a lot of brokers miss the mark here with the onboarding because during that first bit of time after an experienced agent transfers to your brokerage, that is when all their friends at their current company are calling them and asking them how things are.
How is it? Yeah.
And if things are a disaster because it's a big mess, that's what they're telling their friends. Like, this is a lot harder. They're not meaning to badmouth the company, but they're saying things like, this is a lot harder than I thought it was going to be. There's so much to learn. I don't know I'm going to learn it all. Like, if things are organized and systematized, that's what they're telling their friends. They're telling their friends like, hey, I thought that this was going to be a pain, but they are making it so smooth.
Yeah.
I mean, you just locked in maybe one or two more agents just from them, kind of giving that testimonial.
Yeah. So do you think that your agents recruit other agents? Is that what you've seen when you're hiring a lot?
1,000,000% for sure. Yeah.
Is there anything you do to capitalize on that, to make that happen more often? You're asking for referrals?
Honestly, I've talked to Deborah about this, and right now, the organic referrals from the agents, because other agents are saying our agent's doing really, really well, and they see them this over and over and over again. And then there's just other agents that just are a good fit for our brokerage, and the agents know that we have so much business, they're not going to lose out by bringing somebody in. And so that happens quite a lot, where if they feel like they're a good fit, they'll introduce them to Deborah, and then they'll come on board. So no,
Deborah is amazing. I've had the opportunity to meet Deborah. She's amazing.
And I think that's what Keith is kind of saying too, is the importance of the onboarding, that total package experience. Going back to Tony's point, I think most of us as leaders think we're doing an amazing job with onboarding, amazing job with recruiting, an amazing job with retention. But if you asked all of our agents and employees, they'd give you maybe a 6 or 7, right? So if you are able to provide that 9, 10 type of an experience, that organically, to Carrie's point, that organically just spreads among the population. And we'll go back to Tony's analogy of a magnet, then you are just drawing people to an experience that is from beginning to end, has the reputation of just being phenomenal. Like I said, most people don't have that experience. So you don't have to go and solicit and ask agents or pay them or incentivize them to bring other recruits to the table when you have a culture that is a force.
Yeah, when the experience sells itself, they want to recruit other people to your business. So that's great.